Good evening, and thanks for staying up with us. I'm Lindsay Warner. Two more house fires are under investigation in our city tonight. Police confirm at least one of those is connected to an extortion scheme involving threats, money demands, and arson. Our Wallis Snowdon has the latest.
The first fire call came in Sunday in South Edmonton. Crews were called to the neighborhood of Allard just before 6 a.m. In all, 10 crews responded to the fire, which damaged neighboring homes. The second call came in early this morning on the outskirts of West Edmonton. Another home in Secord was in flames. Crews arrived on the scene around 4 a.m. and the fire was called under control about an hour later. The fire, which continued to burn throughout the morning, melted the siding of a neighboring property. No injuries were reported in either fire. Both were homes under construction. Both remain under investigation. Police say they believe the fire in Secord is related to a known extortion scheme, while fire officials continue to investigate the fire in Allard to determine a cause. Police believe it may too become part of their investigation. Early last week, Edmonton police confirmed they're investigating at least 18 cases of extortion involving fires set at newly built homes or show homes. Wallis Snowdon, CBC News, Edmonton.
The city has activated its extreme weather response. Many city buildings are open to warm up, with more buses to help get people to shelters. That leads to the latest on encampments. Two more were taken apart over the weekend, but the discovery of a body has put things on hold. Here's our Emily Fitzpatrick with the latest.
Over the past few weeks, 7 encampments have been dismantled across our city. 8 encampments were deemed high risk, but they can only be removed under certain conditions. The people that live here need to be given 48 hours notice. There needs to be enough shelter space, and the weather needs to be taken into account. This is the final encampment, and according to notices posted on the tents, it's set to be removed tomorrow. But this weekend, a body was discovered and a propane tank exploded at another site. While those two incidents, which investigators say are not connected, delayed the cleanup of the encampment, it still went ahead. Advocates working with the people being displaced say with the temperatures dipping and the camps already popping back up, it's becoming even more dangerous.
They're all set up again, and they're simply on the other side of a fence from where they were yesterday, but they're without a whole lot of the stuff they had yesterday, and having to start over on a -20 morning. It's absolute foolishness.
It's striking a very challenging balance between different risks, between the needs of those living in encampments and public safety more broadly as well. The next steps I'd like to see is, a review of these processes.
In 2023, Edmonton Fire Rescue Services responded to 135 fires and encampments. That resulted in 22 injuries and 3 deaths. Later this week, the interim court order on encampment removals will expire. Emily Fitzpatrick, CBC News, Edmonton.
Officials are warning that this week's cold snap is likely to lead to a spike in carbon monoxide-related calls. They can be deadly, so they want Albertans to take the necessary precautions. Colleen Underwood reports.
Repairman Chris Reed says for the first time this winter, furnaces are being put to the test, and he says some are failing.
I think every HVAC company right now is going to be slammed with calls.
Reed says his crews are running round the clock, responding to furnace issues and breakdowns. Then it doesn't take long for pipes to freeze, something, he says, that can be avoided.
You got to do maintenance. That's key for your furnace. You should do annual maintenance on it. But besides that, sometimes things just break.
Faulty furnaces and fireplaces are also potential sources of carbon monoxide leaks. Fire Information Officer Carol Hankey says CO-related calls go up as the temperature drops, mostly in response to an expired device or battery.
The good news is that majority of those calls don't deal with actual carbon monoxide in people's homes. However, we do know that carbon monoxide is incredibly dangerous. It's colorless, odorless, tasteless, non-irritating. So unless you have a working carbon monoxide alarm, you won't know it's present.
Hankey also warns people not to let their cars run in attached garages, even with the door open, to prevent potentially deadly disasters. Colleen Underwood, CBC News, Calgary.